Our youthful years, those we spend in college and in our 20s, tend to be formative in the case of almost everybody. In my case, they were brutally and significantly so. Many of us were forced to basically decide what is really important in our lives, in our communities, in our countries. I decided that at the end of the day, America was worth supporting. It was trying to do its best in the world, and it was worth fighting for. On that basis, I joined the Army, and I got my chance. During the Yom Kippur War, as a soldier just out of Vietnam, I was placed on alert, and people from my brigade were actually sent off to train the Israelis, and it got that close with a confrontation with the Russians in the Sinai. The Nixon administration, with a lot of help from Henry Kissinger as National Security Advisor, was able to see a way forward that opened the door not only to peace between Israel and Egypt, but the ability for us to project power against foes of security and foes of freedom throughout the entire Middle East. That's an example of the kind of country I knew was worth fighting for. As somebody coming from the National Security Council and my positions as ambassador to Turkey and Iraq, fairly substantial and significant countries, the takeaway from government is that it's almost impossible for government, at least the American government, to come up with policy formulations and ideas on its own. This sounds strange to someone who hasn't seen it, but I've seen it and lived it for 20 years. We cut it in from the outside at very high levels. The colleagues that I work with here in the Washington Institute are broadly known at high levels in government. And when they come up with an idea, it has to be a good idea, but they often are good ideas. Those ideas will get a lot of play among the people at the very top. So it is a combination of our ideas, processing by the highest levels of government, and the threat of having to deal with a media which soaks up these ideas, that generates a process that gets policies from the outside to the very top. It's fascinating. I mean, I saw it work inside government, and I've seen it work here. It's hard to describe, but it's very, very effective. I'm very comfortable with the Washington Institute because, first of all, I feel that there is true academic freedom here. We sometimes run different approaches to one or another issue, but we all know that the people we're dealing with here are absolutely top-notch scholars. They're supported by donors around the country, and I've met many of them, who really want to know more about foreign policy and want to ensure that a variety of voices are heard in Washington. And that is very encouraging too, because I believe in democracy, and at an end we need a public that is interested in what the government does and how we can make it do it better.